Have you ever wondered about the history of the key in your pocket? It's a tale so epic, so mind-blowing. It's not. It's pretty boring. But let's dive into it anyway. Picture this. A long time ago, our ancestors figured out a frustrating truth: things go missing. Stuff just walks away. To solve this incredibly mundane problem, someone invented the key. There was no satisfying click of a lock turning, just the dull thud of wood sliding against wood. Then came the Romans. Now, the Romans were master engineers. They gave us roads, aqueducts, and concrete. So, did they invent a key that shoots lasers or doubles as a tiny chariot? No, but they did make a significant improvement. They made keys out of metal. This was a game changer. Metal keys were stronger, more durable, and could be made much smaller. This downsizing led to a revolutionary innovation, the pocket-sized key, and some clever Romans took it a step further. They started wearing keys as rings. Castles, dungeons, and lots of big, heavy doors. And what do you need for big, heavy doors? Big, heavy keys. Keys, in this era, became symbols of power and authority. The jailer, the steward, the lord of the castle, they all had a massive ring of iron keys jangling at their hip. I have the key, so I'm in charge. They were often ornate, with intricate designs, but they were still fundamentally just chunks of metal designed to move a bolt. Opening a castle gate wasn't a quick affair. It involved finding the right massive key, fitting it into a rusty lock, and using all your strength to turn it. It was a slow, creaky, and probably quite tedious process. Then, the Industrial Revolution roared to life. in the 18th and 19th centuries. Factories started churning out everything, and keys were no exception. This was the era of mass production. Suddenly, locks and keys weren't just for the wealthy or for castles anymore. Regular people could afford them for their homes, their desks, their diaries. But mass production also meant a certain uniformity. Keys became more standardized, more, well, boring. They lost their ornate, handcrafted feel and became simple, functional objects. This is also when lock technology really started to advance. These were much more secure than the old warded locks. Picking them required actual skill, not just a bent piece of wire. The key had finally grown up into a semi-respectable security device. But with this newfound respectability came a new kind of frustration: losing your mass-produced key. And that brings us to today. What's the state of the key in the 21st century? Well, it's complicated. We have the classic metal key, jangling in our pockets or purses. It opens our homes, starts our cars, and secures our offices. And even our smartphones that can act as digital keys. Biometrics let us use our fingerprints or faces as keys. It's all very futuristic and cool. But let's be real. How many of us are actually using our retina to unlock our garden shed? For most everyday things, the humble metal key still reigns supreme. So, after 4,000 years of evolution, from a giant shoulder plank of wood to a tiny piece of notched metal, the key remains one of history's most successful, yet unexciting inventions. It doesn't tell grand stories, it doesn't inspire songs, and it rarely gets the credit it deserves. It just quietly does its job, opening and closing the doors of our lives. And that, in its own simple way, is its own kind of legacy. It's the boring, unglamorous, and utterly essential history of the key. Thanks for sticking with us through this surprisingly low drama journey. If you enjoyed this, for some reason, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thrilling histories of everyday objects. See you next time.